Movies inspire us. They give us a feeling of adventure and connection. They're constantly weaving a web of shared experience and emotion. And that's only the beginning. Movies...
We're so stoked to have you on the Dungeon Doom team.
I take back everything I just said. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at an awe-inspiring Indiana Jones ripoff. The movie is called Templar Nation, and based on the title, I already knew this would be a hilarious watch for a very specific reason that I'll get to later in the video. Quick side note, I discovered this movie because someone hacked my Amazon account, and when I found this out and recovered the account, my recent watch list had a movie called Dinosaur Island, and when I checked that movie out, it had Templar Nation in the recommendations, so I guess there really is an upside to everything. But also, please don't hack me. Alright, let's jump right into it. The start of this movie is quite the page turner, and I mean that literally. That's right, we have a 1 minute long history lesson at the start of this movie. I'm watching movie. Why have to read? I was pleasantly surprised to find out that this movie actually starts with a well-known actor, Eric Estrada. Eric plays a character named Alfred. Alfred is studying peacefully like the good boy that he is when he hears a spooky noise outside, so he goes to check it out. When he does this, he sees that there's a hooded man trying to break in. Now, if you are like me, you see a well-known actor at the beginning of a B movie and you kinda know exactly where it's going. That's right, the budget itself comes in and kills Alfred. And then we get an epic title sequence. I feel like I'm watching Crash Course History. After the title sequence, we cut to Alfred's friend and co-worker, Professor William Sinclair, who is also our protagonist. William is grieving. He's absolutely heartbroken about the loss of his friend. His boss comes in and is obviously not good at comforting people.
Oh, my dear friend, what happened?
I don't have the details, but it was violent.
Was he being robbed?
He does a terrible job comforting William, and then he even says this.
I know there's nothing I can say that would make anything better, but perhaps I can help some. I just received a message from a colleague of mine at the University of Chicago. They have satellite images that seem to indicate an undiscovered Native American site. Their budget cuts, they can't afford to send down a dig team, so they've offered the lead to us. I know this is a favorite topic of yours. I thought you might be interested in heading the dig.
This is the state of America. You lose someone close to you and you expect some paid leave, and instead, they give you more work. Typical. William thinks that this might be able to distract him from his grief, so he accepts the job. And at the very end of their conversation, Boss Man says this.
And William, if you ever need to talk, you can always trust me.
That feels like foreshadowing to me.
You've never let me down.
How could I? I'd never want to incur the wrath of the famous old battle axe.
Okay, he's basically just admitting to it now. I guess he just can't hold in the excitement from this murder he just pulled off. Hey man, how are you? I'm not doing too great. Billy from school, he was just murdered. What? What happened? The guy used an axe. Never mind, I shouldn't axe you about it. I do not detect anything wrong here. Next up, we get our first of many flashback sequences between William and Alfred. They say the word 9 about 10,000 times in this scene.
Well, the number 9, it keeps cropping up.
9 nights.
9 years.
19.
9.
Wow, they said it that many times? That seems really important. Next, we're introduced to another main character, Renee. Renee is responsible for putting the team together. Renee easily recruits a couple of people to the team, one of them being a guy named Marlin, or Merlin, I can't remember. He's the comedic relief of the movie, and he's also a huge pervert.
Stop staring.
Nope, I don't want to.
And then, Renee has to overcome her toughest challenge yet with recruitment. Next up is Marion. Marion just got this huge career opportunity that apparently has been extremely difficult for her to secure for years. And this career opportunity conflicts with this mission that they're about to go on. According to this guy, it would be ridiculous for her to turn this down.
I would love to be involved. When?
Uh-oh, guys. She's She's thinking about it. Don't do anything rash, okay? Just hear this guy out.
And I know that Professor Sinclair would agree with me that this supervisory opportunity for Marion is just too important for her career. I know that Professor Sinclair has been like a father to you, but he knows how difficult it's been to get funding for your research.
Wow, he makes some great points. You really can't turn down this...
I'm sorry, but I have to do this.
Okay, alright. Next up, Boss Man runs into Mustache Man, and they have a great conversation that ends with some really subtle acting.
Say hello to your wife.
I'll do it.
Wow, that guy seems very nice and trustworthy. And now, we're getting into the action. Whoa! They start digging, they find a sword, and then a Native American man on horseback shows up and scowls at them. And rightfully so.
We do have permission to dig here, right?
Maybe he thinks it's his tribal lands.
Let's just hope this doesn't get nasty.
Hey guys, I have a huge newsflash here. This is all tribal lands, like the whole country. You would think they would know that, being archaeologists, but I guess they're just a little boneheaded. You get it? Because they're archaeologists, they dig up bones. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess that was too much. After this, we learn that they're being watched, and this is how they edit away from this big reveal. I did not edit this at all.
All right, we've got something.
And then immediately after this, they cut to some no context Rocky montage. Yeah.
I ain't babysitting you. Move it!
Yeah. Okay, man, I'm sure you aren't babysitting.
Come on, this ain't nursery. Move it!
Okay, this guy's really fixated on this not being for babies. I'm just imagining that he has like another part-time job at a nursery and he is just really confused about what job he's at right now. This ain't no nursery. Right? Are you a baby? This character is Robert Sinclair, William's estranged son. After this montage, Robert has a meeting with some gamers at a museum and we get this top tier VFX. And immediately after this, we also get some top tier editing.
Who do you think would win?
Who would win?
You guys done?
So then, William calls Robert and he manages to convince him to come help them at the dig site. The sword that they found actually seems like it's some kind of key to a big puzzle, and Robert is some kind of weapons and history expert that can help them with this. So we flash forward to William and the rest of the team all checking into a hotel at night, and immediately Marion gets attacked out of nowhere. The thieves are trying to take her sword and Robert saves the day.
Doesn't concern you, boy. I'd reconsider that if I were you.
Then Robert and Marion hit it off. I mean, just look at this chemistry.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Si necesitas algo, estoy en el cuarto 135.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
The next day, Robert shows up to the dig site and he greets his father like this. He knows he can just speak to him, right? This is probably why him and his father don't get along. Right after this, Robert and Marion have another romantic scene. Oh my god, I don't know if I can show this, guys. I may have to censor it. And now we get to one of the first big twists in the movie.
That grave holds the remains of a man who was once a member of a very elite and prestigious organization. Later, they were known simply as the Knights Templar.
The Templar Knights were in America? This is what I found so funny about this movie's title earlier. This movie is constantly rewriting and disrespecting history, and I find that hilarious for a movie that is all about history. Can you imagine a movie about Native Americans and the big twist at the end is, actually, they were in Italy the whole time. Speaking of Native Americans, the guy from earlier pulls up behind a bad guy that's about to kill our heroes and he saves them. And he does it with an amazing one-liner that is immediately betrayed with the most pitiful sound effect for a gunshot I have ever heard in my life.
Federal Homeland Security, bitch.
Can you imagine if big budget movies did this? Guys, it's gonna blow. This is the climax of the movie. Oh my god.
3, 2, 1.
And immediately after this, look at how they treat the rising action here.
If you want to live, you'll hop in the truck and come with me.
Are you threatening us?
No, dumbass. I'm saving you.
Who are they? What do they want?
I feel like this is one of the first times that I noticed how poorly they were using music in this movie for the tone that they were trying to set. But I've got to give this part some props. There are some genuinely cool car and motorcycle stunts here. Ooh. Okay. You got some air. Whoa, okay. I think they almost just killed the camera guy. Look, he whips up when they're driving at him like he thinks he's about to get hit. Call me crazy, but I don't think they have a license for this. Immediately after this, we fade out of the action and straight into a stock photo. And then we fade out of the stock photo and into a scene of our heroes gathered around a campfire. The Native American man introduces himself as Indian Joe. And this is so funny to me. If you try to come up with the most tone-deaf name for a Native American character that you can, I'm pretty sure that Indian Joe has got to be in the top 5 at least. Not only are they calling him an Indian, they're also calling him Joe. It's like one of the most common white man names in the world. Joe points them in the right direction, and when they arrive, they use the sword like a key. This points them to a rock, and then they go and lift the rock, and that opens a door. I don't really see why the sword couldn't have just opened the door. I feel like that's the most important thing about this whole mechanism. But when the door opens, William is just overtaken with guilt, and he has to tell the rest of the group his big secret that he's been keeping. William is actually a Knight of the Templar.
Something you should know about me. I'm a member of the Templar Order.
And his explanation is foolproof. You see, Alfred told him that the Templars still exist and that he's one of them. And then he told him that William can be one too if they do this little knighting ceremony. So basically, they're just LARPing? Where are his credentials for this? It's just two guys in a room with a sword playing like I'm a big Templar man and I can make you one too. So while he admits to playing pretend, the bad guys approach, and the big line that hooked me from the trailer to watch this whole movie is dropped.
Is that who you thought attacked me at the hotel?
Houston, we have a problem.
So they all run into the cave, and their comrades that are still behind get brutally run down by the cars of the bad guys. They kind of just rolled in front of the cars. I guess they got tired. And this is it. The moment you've been waiting for. We're inside of a temple, and this is the Indiana Jones switcheroo scene. You know how in Indiana Jones it's this suspenseful scene where he has to really carefully balance the weight of these two things or else it'll set off a trap, and then it does, and he has to run away from this big boulder, and it's super exciting? What if we did all of that, except we take out the boulder, we take out the whole weight thing, and instead, all you gotta do is take this little bowl that's on a table and set it onto the ground. This is genius. So they're into the next room, but there's a problem. The bad guys are right behind them. So William, he's about to go back and put the bowl back on the table to close the door, and he's gonna sacrifice himself. But before he can do this, Renee steps up to the plate and she sacrifices herself first. And I think this is a good place to talk about one of the biggest problems with this movie, the shifts in tone. We will go from chase scene music and exciting action scenes to the most emotional, oh, this is the end of the world, heartbreaking scenes with that kind of music in the background in seconds. There is no time for build-up, for payoff, or anything. Everything just kind of happens and then it's over, and that's exactly the same with this scene. So we move on immediately to the next room, and Melvin He solves the puzzle here in an interesting way.
That's kind of gay. What? It's two dudes on the same horse. You can't tell me that's not a little fruity.
That's it.
What, they're gay?
Huh?
So now, we've reached the final test. The prowess of arms. The only problem is this test must have been like beta tested by the Templars and they like weren't finished building it yet because no one comes out to fight them and so they're just kind of like stuck in the room. But man, lucky for them, the bad guys break through the wall and they fight them. And this is where our main villain is revealed.
You have no right to wield that sword, boy.
I know that voice.
Alfonso? Alfonso!
Wow, what a shock.
Your mother church is a whore.
Whoa, man, he's been holding that one in for a while. They fight it out for a while and Robert cuts off the hand of the big bad boss man. And then William follows it up with the 1-2 beheading, and it's another pitiful sound effect. And the final door opens. Seems to me like they got really lucky that those guys showed up. That door would have stayed closed. I don't think you guys are ready for the final minutes of this movie. Through this door, we find out that there is a secret underground society of Templars.
Welcome, Professor. Please follow me.
And it gets much crazier. First off, Joe is a Templar, and he has some almost fourth wall breaking dialogue.
Yeah, big surprise, huh?
And to top it all off, Philip, the leader of the Templars, and Alfred's brother, tells the gang that not only is there a small society of Templars, but they sailed to America in the 13th century, and they have been running the country ever since.
The Order developed a radical plan. A Templar Nation.
He said the movie name. This feels so wrong. There's literally a Native American standing behind you. Also, Renee is alive, and Marion and Robert smooch it out. Wow. And then, to end the movie, they leave us with a to be continued.
I think you guys are gonna want to see this.
Bon say.
Oh boy, I can't wait for Templar Nation 2. Thanks for watching. All right, bye.